see. Where am I going here?
We're live. Are we live? Yes, we are.
Yeah.
We
yes, sir.
All right.
Lead us in, Jason?
Oh. Hey guys, welcome to the Driver Nation. Sorry, I didn't know you were waiting for me. I apologize. Thanks, guys, for joining us tonight. We got Sergio on from the Rideshare Guy, and
Yes,
Steve, of course, and then Tom from TNC Radio.Live. Looking forward to the night. So appreciate you guys joining us.
I'm assuming TNC is for Transportation Network Company. Is that what we're talking about?
It's a funny story.
Funny story. It was, but yeah. Well, I've got 4 minutes. So Sergio, originally, that was the plan. Is that this radio station was going to be all about rideshare, nothing but rideshare. Talking TNC, and that's where I got the name.
Right.
It had all ready to go live, had my whole crew, got everything all set up, and we're supposed to go live on March the 24th, 2020. And if you were, yeah, yeah, exactly. So March the 12th, 2020, the world collapsed, and I didn't have an audience. And so we sat around. Remember, at first they said this will just be for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Right. And then it was going to be, well, maybe a month. And it was, well, maybe the summer. And, and so we sat around for a few weeks going, what do we do? We'll just wait. It'll be over soon. And then one day we realized all of us had some family member or were personally involved in trucking in some way, and that the only people really on the roads were truckers. So we retooled the station, and instead of TNC, Transportation Network Corporation, it was suddenly and now about to be officially the Trucker Network Channel.
Oh, okay.
But we still had our love for the gig economy, and since a lot of drivers, this is my lowest point in the night for truck drivers to listen throughout the week. Friday night, I don't have a lot of drivers, so I thought, well, let's go ahead and keep doing this. Let's go ahead and have the show about TNC on Friday nights when we have a lot of rideshare drivers who are out there and can listen in and learn new things and meet new people and all that kind of good stuff. So. Every time I get in an Uber, which is quite often, I tell them about the station, and we keep growing and growing and growing on that side.
That's
so
awesome.
We've gone from a couple of hundred listening hours the first few months to tens or maybe 10,000-15,000 listening hours last year to well over 150. Well, right now we're pushing 100,000 listening hours for this year, with about 25,000 podcast downloads and that kind of stuff. So we've blown up pretty incredibly over the last 2 years.
It's awesome. Super. And you definitely have the radio voice, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Big time.
Unlike me and Steve. I was like,
all my life people keep saying, hey, Tom, you ought to be in radio. And I thought it was because of my voice, but it was really just my face. They took one look at it and said, yeah.
I'll never do it again, but I tried to imitate Tom once, and no, not even for you, Sergio. I'll never do it again.
Come
it was
on,
like,
man. Well, come on.
I mean, it was so bad, I think it just inverted in me. It was like, don't ever do that again, and exploded.
You scared yourself, huh?
Not even scared. I didn't understand what I had done. I was like, what was that?
You have to try it always once.
Right.
And then just like everything else, you got to try it once, and then let's see if you like it.
Yep.
Tom had a chuckle out of that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think we were all thinking, like, what was that?
All right, so we got about 1 minute before we go live on the radio side.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So you guys want to ask questions, or how should we do this? Like, should I introduce myself and go at it, or what do you guys want me to do?
We'll introduce you. And
okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Questions up front. So, okay, let's see. We are on Bank One, Driver Nation. All right. We got an extra 30 seconds in here if we got hit a couple promos.
Steve, I did Instacart this week.
Why?
Long story. Catch my show on Wednesday.
Why is a good question.
I'm gonna be doing some too, since I did sign up and I have my first customer on dumpling.
Do you?
Yep.
Nice, bro.
Yep.
You got all these odds and in apps, bro.
Oh,
Dumpling and
nah, man.
You know-
I'm worse than Steve. I've got like every app imaginable that I work.
I got like 9. I got 9, I think.
All right, he's bringing us in.
Okay.
And here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome in TNC Radio.Live. It's Friday night, and this is Driver Nation. I'm Tom Kelly, along with Steve and Jason, who we usually have with us, and we have a special guest with us tonight, too. It's Sergio. We're going to be talking all things around the gig economy for the next 2 hours. So we got plenty to cover. We're going to start off with Sergio here. Sergio, first of all, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Anytime. Thank you so much for having me.
There's a lot going on out there in the world of drivers, and a couple of things I want to ask you about. And one of them is I want to talk about this upfront pricing and the impact that it's having on drivers. Also, the last couple of Uber drivers that I met with you just in their car, where they're not, and I've invited them to come on. They may or may not join us tonight. Which, by the way, if you're listening in on the radio side, you want to give us a call at 706-862-8620. That's 706-TNC0. We'd love to have you in. And if you're one of those drivers who I've talked to in the last couple of weeks, do call in. A common complaint that I'm hearing from drivers right now is how bad the set destination part of the app works at this point. I hated it, and I haven't used it for a year, but it's really bad now. And there's a guy yesterday who I was with, who was coming from just outside of Houston and wanting to go to the north side of Houston, which is the Woodlands, and ended up in my neighborhood, which is about an hour and a half south. And he was stuck with it. He didn't mind too much, except it was just kind of. And in Houston last night, he picked me up. Well, we listened to the end of the World Series on the way over to my house. And I was like, so what do you think? You can get a bunch of stuff? He said, I'm trying to go home, but the stupid app won't let me go home.
Yeah.
So I would like to have some comment on that tonight, too. But let's start off talking about the impact of the upfront pricing on drivers. You said that you'd done some work there, had some data. Tell us a little bit about what you've been finding.
Yeah, definitely. So upfront, I'm going to call going forward, instead of the whole thing, upfront pricing or fares and destination, we created an acronym at the Rideshare Guy. We're going to call it UFD. UFD meaning upfront, fares, and destination, right? So Uber about 6-8 months ago started testing UFD in about 25 mid-sized cities. And we got a wind of it, and we're in constant touch with drivers from pretty much every major city and small city and large city. And so we had screenshots, we looked at it. Most people enjoyed it at the start, just for the fact that upfront fares includes now the upfront destination of the passenger, which Uber and Lyft never showed for the last decade. They always had this information, but they had never released it to the driver. Obviously, there are reasons for that. What are the common reasons would be, a driver sees a destination that he doesn't want to go. It could be a bad part of the neighborhood or whatever not. And, there could be some discrimination, obviously. But the other thing, the more important thing is that, every city has its own flow, right? It's its own rhythm. Like I'm in Los Angeles, which is a very busy city when it comes to rideshare. And, I play the game differently than most drivers do in order to keep me in the hot zone, as I call it, because most of the trips are in LA proper area. Once the trip kicks you out of the zone, then you have potential dead miles coming back into the zone. But so drivers were very happy seeing the destination of the passenger, because as so-called independent contractors that we are, we can compare ourselves to an electrician or an air conditioning contractor or a plumber. What job don't they know, right? Before they know, like if you, let's say, Tom, you call me and I'm an electrician, you go, hey, Sergio, I got a job for you, right? And I say, great, what is it? And then as an Uber driver, the answer would be, no, you get here first, and I'll tell you what the job is. You'd be calling me a few fancy names and hang up on me, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what the drivers dealt with for a decade, right? So, and Uber and Lyft kept this information to themselves. So after testing it for about 6 months, they obviously liked it because look, the Uber specifically, I'm not going to talk too much about Lyft because they are just releasing. I just got it actually last Tuesday during the show. We do a show on our YouTube channel called Show Me the Money Club. Actually, me and my co-host Chris, we both turned our apps on. We got actually pinged seeing the destination up front on Lyft, which was like, wow, that's shocking.
You even doubted the guy who said that it was happening in LA.
I did because he got it at 3, and we started at 3. I was like, no chance, and I'm going like, oh my god, it is here. So I'm going to talk mostly about Uber because we have some data when it comes to the pricing of these, right? So upfront destination went well, obviously, in those 25 cities, and Uber released it 3 weeks ago Thursday to pretty much every major city in the country: Chicago, Atlanta, LA, San Francisco. These are the cities that Uber does probably 25 to 30% of their business in, okay? And, initially, obviously, look, I cannot say enough good things about seeing the destination of the passenger before I accept the job, okay? I mean, there's nothing to complain about that part. There's, if you complain about that, then you need to go do some other thing. I don't know what to tell you as a driver, okay? Because when I say that, they go, oh, you're the Uber lover, this and that. Well, no, bro, it's like, this is reality. They call me, I mean, I get used to it by now, though, is they call me all kinds of things now. So it's like,
yeah,
but it's okay. But what comes with the upfront is that, see, you guys are involved in, you have some listeners that are in trucking or maybe cabbies or whatever, right? In what part of the transportation economy, the fare is not based on miles and distance and duration, right? If you get a trucking job on, first thing you want to find out is how far is the job? Am I driving 1,000 miles or am I driving 300 miles, right? So you quote a price accordingly, and also the duration. So it used to be that in all these cities that Uber is releasing upfront pricing and destination, UFD, they now completely got rid of the distance and duration part of the equation. So they created this algorithm. It's a black box algorithm. Nobody knows what's in it, okay? I mean, Uber kind of says what's in it, but then they said there's about 70 different things in it that the algorithm analyzes within a millisecond and spits out a price to the driver. And at that point, it's a take it or leave it kind of a situation. You know what the destination is. You know what's going to pay. You either accept or you don't accept. Simple as that. And then if you don't accept, it goes to the next driver, right? So when you take out the miles and minutes out of the pricing of a trip, because before, if I got a 10-mile trip and it was going to last, let's say 30 minutes, I exactly knew what I was going to get paid because every city has base rates. In Los Angeles, it was 60 cents a mile and 21 cents a minute. So now I have no idea because now Uber's algo is saying, this is the price of the trip, take it or leave it. And I have about 6 to 8 seconds to make this decision while I'm driving, potentially with another passenger in the car, which kind of makes it a dangerous kind of situation because I have to look at my phone and make that split-second decision, and you have to do some math, actually, right? So long story short, when UFD came to LA, right, obviously it's in my backyard, I tested it. I tested quite a bit of it. And shortly after about a week, I figured out that long trips, anything over 20 miles, is paying about 20 to 30% less than it used to be. And short trips to medium trips, by the way, Uber did 1.95 billion trips last 3 months. This is their quarterly earnings came out on Monday. And 1.95 billion trips, right? So all these trips were squeezed into their system. And now they're going to be squeezed into their system with this algorithm. And the algorithm is figuring out what the trip is worth by a few things. Besides, obviously, miles and minutes, now Uber says it depends on how many drivers there are in the area that you're about to accept that trip. It depends how many drivers there may or may not be where the destination of the trip is. It also depends if you're going to get a return trip from where you're going. Where you're going is busy, then they're going to price the trip lower. If there are a lot of drivers in your area, when the ping comes in or when the request comes in, the algo is going to, price it lower. But what they didn't tell us is that, which I figured out after about a week, is that if you're doing a 40, 50, 60-mile trip, which in LA, in California, is pretty common, actually, like that people, get a trip and go to Disneyland or get a trip, go to San Diego, which is 150 miles away from LA. Those trips definitely got anywhere between 20 and 30% haircut with a potential dead mile return, because what are the odds of somebody returning back to LA from San Diego? How are you going to find that person? And we can touch on that, destination filter that you talked about, Tom, because that's when that thing becomes useful. So you're trying to get back home, right? So initially, there was euphoria within the driver community saying that, yes, we finally know what the job is before we accept it. But when the prices came in, now literally every driver's acceptance rate in the country, because I do our own channel checks, they are collapsing, literally collapsing. People who used to accept 80, 90, 95% of the requests are down to maybe 30, 35% because the algorithm is not pricing these trips correctly. Now, last one on this would be, we have connections. We have the rideshare guy, right? So we have interviewed the CEO of Uber 3 times. The third time was about 2.5 months ago. It's public. I mean, it's on our channel. So these were his words. I'm quoting from that video, which we pounded him afterwards anyway. And Steve knows that. So he said, it's on Uber if you are not, as a driver, accepting every request sent to you. These are his words. The reason for that, he says, if you're not accepting trips and declining by the thousands, by the millions around the country by all these drivers, he said that means we are not pricing trips correctly. Well, breaking news, Mr. Dara Khosrowshahi, CEO of Uber, your algorithm is not pricing trips correctly. They are getting declined by the millions. Now, what is that going to do? What that's going to do is passenger pickup ETAs are going to go up. Because Uber passengers are spoiled. They're used to getting picked up in 5 minutes because there's 8 to 10 cars at every corner of Los Angeles or every corner of a big city. Well, if drivers are declining these trips because it's not making business sense, right? I don't want to drive 3 miles to pick somebody up and drive another 10 miles after that for $7. I am making cash flow, but it's not a profitable trip for me. Because on our channel, we educate drivers by teaching them what the metrics are for them to be a profitable driver. Well, if you do the math in 8 seconds that you have when the request comes in, which you can, if you can, then you exactly know if that trip is profitable for you to your bottom line or not. Well, obviously, at the moment, the algorithm is not pricing trips correctly. So that's the conclusion that we came up with in the last 3 weeks. In fact, we're going to, when I drive, by the way, I do nothing but take screenshots. I still drive. I'm a driver on both platforms. And in fact, after this, I'm going to go test the Lyft beta that they sent me for about 2 hours, and we'll see how that goes. So here's the deal. On Uber, the algo is not pricing trips correctly. Trips are being denied, declined, or not accepted by the millions. The only thing that's saving Uber at the moment is that because of the macroeconomic conditions, because we have inflation, because we're paying 3 times as much to pretty much at least twice as much for everything that we paid in 2019. There are a lot of desperate people out there trying to put food on the table, and Uber has a tremendous amount of driver supply. And these people have to supplement their W-2 incomes if they do have a W-2, and they're accepting these money-losing trips just to create some cash flow to pay their short-term bills. So the conclusion is UFD upfront fares are not being priced correctly. However, it's a huge plus to see the destination of the passenger.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with the point of even if they are mispriced, at least it's all there. It's your bad decision to be made.
Yep. Yep. If you're accepting these trips,
yeah,
We have, again, on Show Me the Money on Tuesday, please, everybody, whoever can tune in, it's on the Rideshare Guy YouTube channel. Steve knows me. I don't push things that I do.
Oh, we're going to, before you get out of here, we're going to make you plug it. Trust me.
We are going to do this massive, massive deep dive on UFD with screenshots, with screen recordings. What a life of an Uber and Lyft driver, especially if they're multi-apping. The other day, I tested this myself, and it's going to be my screen grab, nobody else's.
Right.
I had both apps on for 6 minutes. The amount of stuff I have to deal with on a second-by-second basis while my car is moving is unsafe and is insane. Absolutely insane.
Yep.
And that's where Gary comes in. Gary, I'm sending you an email today. Read it.
Gary, come on here right now. Call in 706-862-8620. Call in.
So initially, the euphoria has settled. Honeymoon is over. Drivers are declining trips. We ran a poll just today, maybe half hour before I came on with you guys. So far, the conclusion of that poll, with a little limited, obviously, sample size, but by the time tomorrow comes around, we'll have at least 2,000-3,000 votes on it, is that everybody's acceptance rate is collapsing in the country because people are seeing these prices and they're going like, screw this, I'm not touching this, right? I'm losing money. So in our world of rideshare, there are some words that I speak with love. One of them is an ant. An ant is a driver who accepts literally everything without even analyzing if they're profitable or not. And there are a few of those around. Yeah. And I call myself the top cherry picker in Los Angeles. So I've always been a cherry picker. I'm looking for my bottom line. I don't care about Uber. I don't care about Lyft. I don't care about the passenger. I'm in it for me as an independent contractor. I'm trying to make the most amount of money in the shortest period of time, period. And no ifs and buts about it.
We talked about it. We talked about it on your show this week.
Yes, we did, because that's the way you have to be. You have to be a little cutthroat, right? Because there is 10 other guys competing with you on the street. They can do whatever they want. They can accept every garbage ping Uber and Lyft sends them. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to waste my car to a pulp, my body to a pulp, my brain to a pulp because Uber wants me to do a trick, period. So AR is acceptance rate is collapsing in the country. Even people who are ants. And again, if you're an ant, don't get insulted. I'm saying it with love because you guys do bulk of the trips, okay? So even those people who have 90, 96, 98% acceptance rates, they are down to 40, 50%. They're just not taking these trips. So either the CEO of Uber was full of BS when he came on and we interviewed him, because he said, look, it's not your fault if you're not accepting everything we're sending you, because that means the algorithm is not adjusting correctly and pricing things correctly. Well, sir, your algo is gone wild. It's not doing it. I have so many screenshots of these ridiculous trips. One I saw today, which blew my mind, was 133 miles, 2 hours and 10 minutes for $68 with a potential no return. And I'm going like, whoever did that trip, because somebody is going to do that trip, right?
I don't know. That one from LA, I even doubt maybe that one. No,
somebody will do it.
There might not be an ant for that one.
No, the reason for that is because we're going to run this massive test actually in a couple of weeks live, and we're going to display it to everybody. Is that we're going to get 5 or 6 passengers in a parking lot, as well as 10 to 12 drivers in a parking lot. What I want to prove, because I know this from the inside, that there is 2 algorithms that Uber is running. One is for the passenger, and the driver algorithm is running 90 seconds behind, okay? So what it does is that now they have upfront pricing for the passenger, and they have upfront pricing for the driver. So as a passenger, which I am on both platforms, I use Uber and Lyft quite a bit, is that when a passenger orders a trip, Uber sends them an upfront price saying, okay, it's $30 for this trip. When a passenger accepts that, a contract is made and the algo starts looking for the driver to match with, correct? Now that we have upfront fares for the driver as well, the algo is in Wall Street, we'll call it Dutch auction. Basically, what the algo is going to do is that it's going to send the first offer to a driver that it knows that accepts everything at, let's say, $12. If that driver says, hell no, it's going to send it to the next driver at 12.5. It's going to send it to the next driver at 13. Ultimately, somebody's going to bite on that and take it maybe for 15. So Uber charged 30, pay the driver 15, guaranteed money about 50% gross profit for them. And this is what the algo is doing within milliseconds now. And we're going to prove this live because we're going to have these passengers order, because we're all going to be in the same parking lot. The passenger is going to order a trip. Well, all the passengers are going to use the same destination. Obviously, the pickup point is going to be the same, right? So we're going to hope that the first ping or the first request goes to one of the drivers. Since we're side by side, we're the closest driver, we should get that ping, right? And if it goes to that first driver and that first driver declines, what happens to that offer? Does it get shuffled and added another 50 cents, goes to the next driver, goes to the next driver, right? Because the way this is the world's most brilliant arbitrage that they're running. And I called it brilliant, and people call me, you're an Uber shill. I can listen, people. If I was Uber, I would be doing the same exact thing.
Absolutely.
They're running a $50 billion company. They did 2 billion trips last year. I mean, last quarter, in 3 months, 2 billion with a B, not dollars worth, count wise, 2 billion. 21 million trips a day they did. If you don't have these systems, you cannot run a massive scale like this, right? But they are very smart, and they are doing it. And now they figured it out. Finally, they figured it out.
Radio break.
Yeah, I need to take a break on the radio side. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Keep listening right here, TNC Radio.Live, Driver Nation on a Friday night.
Yeah, they figured it out finally. Whoever did it should get a huge bonus at Uber.
Well, see, this is what I was saying, Sergio. This is where you have to pause where we're at and be able to pick it back up when the radio
I'll pick it up.
comes
Don't
back.
worry. I'm fired up, bro. I'm fired up.
Yeah, but we can't talk about it till then.
I got you. Yeah, because this is BS.
That makes it weird, huh?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. This is a bunch of BS.
Hey, bro, did you see?
Yeah, watch Tuesday, Steve. Tuesday is gonna be fun.
Man, I am a regular on Tuesday now.
Yes, I'm telling you, no punches holding back on Tuesday.
Seriously, I really not only enjoy it, I really respect the fact that that Harry lets it go on not like it's something awful, but just that he's cool.
No, nothing like that. But we're always professional. We always
absolutely, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We do our research, and we're not BSing.
Right, and you're not threatening, swearing. It's not getting maybe a little
here
swearing.
And there I do it. Once in a while, my East Coast comes out and it escapes.
Hey, what's up, everybody in the chat? Gary, you're with your son. Cool. Stay with him. All good. I know. Catherine, hey, what's up, Chris? Chris is in here too.
Yeah, Gary would be there if he knew Sergio. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate that. That's very nice.
Yeah, Gary. What are they? They're chopped liver, Gary. Come on now.
He says I would have made myself available if I knew Sergio was going to be.
Oh, he's right. You better be writing that iOS app, buddy. Let me tell you that. You better get that iOS out there.
Gary, thanks. I got something in my eye right here.
Oh, it must be something really big, Tom.
Yeah. Right there.
Squeeze it right under the glass there. I like that.
Hey, Sergio, did you see the hat?
Yes, sir. There you go. See? Represent.
It is.
You've been asking me, man.
Oh, yeah, that's the new hat, bro. You got the new
did
one.
you see my comment, Steve? I said, Steve's got to be different. He's got to have a different rideshare hat.
No, I had to. Sergio was asking me if he's like, have you ever won the? Okay, coming back.
Oh, that was quick.
3, 2, 1. Welcome back in TNC Radio.Live. It's Friday night. That means it's time to turn our attention to the gig economy. And what a great night we're having already. Spirited discussion with Sergio. Sergio, we're going to talk about in just a few minutes how you can hear more of Sergio, but giving us some great information and instruction on what's going on with this algorithm that they're using on the Uber side now. There's a lot more that I want to hear about that. Sergio, why don't we pick up from where you left off there, bud?
Yeah, definitely, Tom. So again, thanks for having me on. So if some of your listeners thought I was fired up, I am fired up about this subject because first and foremost, I'm a driver's advocate. Okay. I've always been a driver's advocate. Now, I may not see eye to eye with a lot of people, but I have an East Coast attitude stuck on the West Coast. Okay. So So to me, this is not a BS zone, right? I don't say anything unless I can prove it and I have facts behind it. And to me, what's happening now almost feels sacrilegious because of the macroeconomic conditions and because Uber and Lyft know that people are desperate, not their paycheck desperate, W-2 paycheck desperate. And look, what's easier to earn some extra cash other than drive or deliver for Uber, DoorDash, or Lyft, okay? Barriers to entry is super easy. All you need to do is a car, upload your documents, go through a watered down background check, and boom, you're on the platform within probably less than 6 hours, okay? So now there is tons of drivers out there, and finally Uber and Lyft have found enough driver supply to present for the demand that they have. Now, my background is Wall Street, so I understand their finances. My outlook on these companies is like totally from top to all the way down, and not down when I say down, not in a denigrating way, down because I'm on the front lines. I'm a driver. Like right after I finish this with you guys, I'm going to go test the beta version of a Lyft app, okay? So to me, if I don't do it, I can't talk about it. A lot of people get on the internet and they talk a game, but none of them are a driver. You don't know what the driver is going through. Yes, this algorithm was written in a dark corner up in San Francisco by a genius software engineer. And I say it again, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant, right? But what I have challenged all of them. In fact, I've invited them to come down to LA and get in my car and we'll drive for a week. Let's see what the driver goes through. Because you just wrote that algorithm and threw it on the poor driver. Okay, what are we going through here, right? So none of them, they all experience or they all enjoy their product as consumers, but they never tested themselves in real life. Because a code in a computer is not what happens on the street when I pick up a drunk. A code written on a computer does not tell me what to do, how to protect myself, in a dark alley when I'm picking somebody up named Gangster. It has happened to me, trust me. So because I'm on the front lines, I know how both sides of the, coin works. I look at their financials. I listened to their conference call on Monday morning at 5 a.m. when their earnings came out, where they were thrilled. All the executives were just joyful because Uber is doing great. Food delivery is doing great. Rideshare is back more than what it was before the pandemic. And the other thing they were joyful about is that they have more driver supply, meaning more drivers on the streets waiting for a request than ever before. And that's because the economy is about to go in a recession, according to most pundits. I believe it. And if that happens, people have to put food on the table. I have absolutely zero, problems with people trying to make a couple $100 extra cash a week, to close the gap between what they're paying, due to inflation. And it is what it is. But just to take advantage with this, it's not evil. I think it's genius. Actually, it's evil and genius at the same time. This algorithm, double algo that they're running. It is what it is. And however, there's one thing that these executives or coders don't understand, which is, they still don't understand it. It's been 12 years since Uber around, 10 years since Lyft has been around. They sit in these corners, offices, they feel like we're the peons, we're moving the pieces around. Guess what? If I don't take that burrito to you, you are going hungry. You need to get off your ass and go pick it up yourself. One, if I don't take you to the airport, you're going to miss your plane. And guess what? Maybe you'll get fired. So without drivers, there is no gig economy of any sort, from Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Grubhub, Instacart, Shipt, Spark. I don't know. I have 9 of these apps on my phone, but without drivers, there is no gig economy. Until you're flying cars or drones or whatever they are, they come around. You know what? We're still here. So we have the power to change the game. And that's what we're trying to do on our channel and on our show. We need to create a community that's strong and that stays together. And, look, it could be a David and Goliath kind of a situation. It's okay. I don't mind. I'll play the game. Because, I always wondered, I'm in LA, I'm in a very busy city, right? I always wondered what would happen if all 5,000 drivers in Santa Monica turned their apps off exactly at the same time. I always wondered that. And we're working towards something actually in regards to that. And I'm going like, what would happen to that algo, that wonderful algo? Huh?
Don't get deactivated.
They will not. I cannot deactivate.
It would be a super surge of unfound proportions.
Yeah, they've done that in the airports. And they deactivated them all. So
yeah, they deactivated them all because airport property is not public property. But I'm not talking airport property. Airport is a small chump change, piece of the pie. Yeah. We're talking Santa Monica. We're talking public streets. And I'm an independent contractor. And you know what? It's their word. They always say, you have the flexibility, you have the freedom. Okay, we all decided to turn our apps off. What are you going to do? We all go into the bathroom at the same time. What are you going to do, buddy? You cannot deactivate me. It'll be the biggest lawsuit on the planet. It really would be. So to me, I'm like, look, I talk all this smack about these companies. I'm still on their platforms. If they were going to deactivate me, I'd be the first one to deactivate.
You just talk honestly.
Yeah. So I'm like, hey, man. What would happen, right? It will be like a surge tornado. And, we're not going to do this for like hours and hours. 10 minutes on, wash, rinse, repeat. 10 minutes on, everybody grabs their $30, $40 surge trips, makes real money as opposed to this chump chain that this algorithm is throwing at them now. Because the screenshots that we're going to show and the videos we're going to show on Tuesday on our show is insane. I mean, 130 miles, 2.5-hour trip for $70, $80. Come on, man. What is that? 50 cents a mile?
So I got a question for you that I don't know if you've already answered and I missed it on something else or whatever, but do you think that Trip Radar was put in, just the timing of it seems weird to me, was put in to see what was the bottom of the barrel people would accept before they did this upfront model?
Great question, Steve. Great question. I almost forgot you brought that up. Not just Trip Radar. So Trip Radar is something that shows up annoyingly while you're stationary. I've discovered this week. So in the old days, Trip Radar would pop up these declined trips from all over the city on your phone. Right. Somehow. I don't know why. Obviously, what Uber is trying to do with the Trip Radar is, now that there are so many declined trips, right? They don't want these trips to leave the system. So they're showing it to all the drivers in the area, because they don't want it to go to Lyft. They don't want it to leave the system, obviously. But what it is that, number one, it's annoying. Number two, it's really dangerous. It really is. And you guys will see the screen recordings on Tuesday. So I'm not a huge conspiracy guy, okay? But is it a coincidence that in all these cities that they announced UFD, the same day they announced Trip Radar? Why? So put my thinking hat on and I go, okay, well, they expected people to decline these trips. So now they have to shuffle and show it to different drivers in the area. Maybe one sucker will take that one either by mistake, or maybe actually that's a good trip for the guy. Maybe that trip is going somewhere this guy wants to go, right? So that's one. The second thing they did, which actually I would urge everybody to go to our blog and read the article today. I wrote the second thing they did. So in the old days, when Lyft did this 2 years ago, which was horrible, zero transparency when it comes to that on Lyft side, Uber kept it to their credit, is that when I finished a trip, like Steve, you're my passenger, I take you to LAX, I finished the trip, right? Once I slide over the slider and, it says end trip, right? Within 1 second, I could see your receipt, meaning I could see what you paid for that trip.
Right.
And I knew what I made for that trip. And in my head, you paid 30, I made 15. I would call Uber all kinds of names and I say, oh man, they made 50% of what the passenger paid, right? So what are the choices I have at that moment? I go, screw Uber, I'm going to Lyft, right? Yeah. Potentially, could happen. Or screw Uber, I'm doing DoorDash. Screw Uber, I'm doing Instacart, right? Because look, 6-7 years ago, it was the only game in town in the gig world was Uber and Lyft. It's not like that anymore. People have a lot of different choices these days, right? But the pandemic helped obviously tremendously when it came to food delivery, and now it's a household thing, right? And also grocery delivery, pot delivery, all kinds of delivery. I mean, there's even an app for you push a button, a dog walker shows up and walks your dogs, for God's sake. Seriously. No joke.
I know.
So
it's Hannibal's main gig.
Yeah, man. So what happened is that the same time they introduced UFD in all these cities, guess what Uber did? Uber took away the passenger receipt. You cannot figure out what the passenger paid immediately after your trip now. The only way to find that out now is you have to log on to the Uber website, put your credentials in, your ID and password. Then it pops up a page for you. In that page, you have to dig out what their take rate was trip by trip by trip by trip if you want, if you have the time. Or now the new statement displays an aggregate of what all your trips paid and what you received, and then you have to do some math to figure out Uber's take rate. And the CEO on our interview said, "Oh, this is so much more transparent." I go, "How is this more transparent?" The transparent was you didn't follow. We know this in the rideshare world. Lyft always follows Uber. Okay, on this one, 2 years later, Uber followed Lyft, saying that okay, now we're not going to show you the receipt anymore because I don't want you to get pissed off and log off, and I lose a driver, right? So now you have to do some math and you have to do some digging to figure out where how much the passenger paid and what you got paid and your take rate, because that's another huge hot topic in the driver community. Because in the 7 years ago when I started driving, the split between the driver and Uber was about 80-20. Now it's about 50-50. And if you look at the scale Uber has reached, right, there's 124 million people they call MAUs, monthly active users, on their platform. I mean, they literally have reached pretty much all the scale that they could reach in the US, because, US working adult population is about 165 million, right? I mean, think about that scale. So, and they did 2 billion trips in 2016. They didn't do 2 billion trips. They didn't do even probably a quarter of that. So now they have reached a scale that, with a take rate of 50% on average is incredible, right? So those three things, you mentioned Trip Radar, but all these three, Trip Radar, UFD, and I call it less transparent statement, or I called it the Disappearance Act, which is the receipt disappeared from my app, right? So those three things all came with a package deal. So now you tell me, Steve, you think it's a coincidence?
I gotta say, like I said on Tuesday on the Show Me the Money show, Show Me the Money Club show, that at least now it's on me.
Yep.
Like, I can't complain because there's all I've ever asked for is transparency.
Well, no. Let's not take it too far, though. You're giving him too much credit now. It's actually not on you still. It's half on you now, meaning the destination. You know why? Because you're not naming your price. Well, the third party is naming the price of the trip for you.
Fair enough, but I'm seeing it.
Yes.
Here it is. Here's what I'll make. Here's what time it is. That might just be the new age of how that works. So possibly, if it is, there's. But anyway, I'm willing to work the platform under those conditions. I'm cool with that.
I agree with you 100%.
But now there's nobody to blame. I can't blame Uber or anybody, because even if the offers are horrible, I just can't. Just don't take them. I mean, don't do it.
Well, I talked about this on our show. When it first came out, I put it at at an over/under betting parlor kind of a thing of 3 months. When Uber figures out that all these trips are being declined, right, and the algo doesn't learn fast enough and adjust these fares higher pretty soon, right, Uber is going to go right back to where they were before with restrictions on acceptance rates. Because right now there is no restrictions. You can willy-nilly decline all you want. In some cities, they started already. We did a video. In some cities, after 3 declines, Uber is turning your app off. So they're starting, the bad habits are coming back a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's not like this that, Serge, here, decline 20 in a row. No problem. So in Chicago, let's say, they're doing this. In a couple of actually major cities, they started to turn your app off. In fact, Gary, complained that not only they're turning his app off, they're logging him off the platform altogether. He has to put in credentials in to log back in. That's a pain in the ass. Okay, you can turn my app off. It's okay. I'll just click a button. I go back in. Nothing major, right? But why are you?
That's actually a problem Gary has faced before, though, too. Like,
Yeah.
he's had to just work around it,
Yeah,
because
but so why are you even turning my app off? You just came and gave me something wonderful, right? What is it? Like, I always call it tigers never lose their stripes, right? Right now, Uber's, because look,
I think it's
we
their
all
way
know
of going, hey, Serge, you still there? Oh, you're
Yeah.
not?
Yeah,
Never
yeah.
mind. We'll just close the door. Come back
Yeah.
whenever you want.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm like, no, buddy, it doesn't work like that. So, imagine, but look, they knew what's coming, as far as regulatory pressures are concerned. They know, they have more inside info than everybody else. Okay. They knew what's coming from Washington. They know what kind of building is about to collapse on them.
Sergio, let me take a quick break on the radio side. We'll be back in here in just a couple of minutes, guys. Stay tuned. TNC Radio.Live.
So this is awesome. I appreciate this, Sergio. But also, do you have are you going to have another 13 minutes to get us to the top of the hour?
Yeah. 5:10, whatever, like max 5:10, because at
end of 5. You're in Pacific time, so I'm having.
Yeah. No, I have a clock on my.
Right. So at 4:55, it'll go to the top of the hour, and there's news and all this stuff that we won't hear on the radio side.
Okay.
We don't come. No. Oh, really?
We go to the top of the hour.
Right.
Were you saying?
Yeah. But I was saying, but by the top of the hour, we'll be done.
Yeah.
Is what I was saying.
Yeah. I'll talk a little bit about the regulatory stuff, if you guys don't mind.
Okay.
Again, I'm not going to say this on the radio, but I'll say it here is, and there are more conspiracy theories, right? Who's Tony West? You guys know who Tony West is?
No.
Tony West is the head chief counsel at Uber. You know who Tony West is? He's the brother-in-law of Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
So now they have a little bit of a connection.
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
I'm not going to say that on radio.
I mean, because it is. I see where Sergio's saying it's conspiracy, because in the big picture, so what? But it's just weird.
It's very weird.
It's just weird.
Do you know how many Uber and Lyft executives are working inside the Biden administration at the moment? 6.
I thought for some reason I thought that was gonna be a joke.
No,
you're gonna have a punchline.
Reality.
Like 6 Uber execs walk into a bar.
Yeah, 6 Uber execs walk into a bar, and they created this algorithm that screws the driver. No, man, this algo that's horrible, Steve. I went out the other day. Oh my God, bro! Some of the offers, I go like, huh? Plus, I have 7 seconds.
Do you think that they don't try to mess with you with deactivation because of the connection with the rideshare guy, and they just don't want any pushback?
I wasn't this big up until 6 months ago. I was just minding my business and writing, a couple times a week on the blog side, where, people would just kind of react or whatever. But this YouTube thing has just blown things up, right? Before then, they could have done it because pretty much 80% of what I wrote. Look, I call it the way I see it. I see wonderful things that the gig economy does for a lot of people. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I even had, Steve knows them, Tony and Lisa on our show. And that was one of our more successful shows. It got like 20,000 views for a 2-hour episode. Right. The gig economy does wonderful things to people. I wish they didn't suck the life out of it, because it was really a wonderful thing 6-7 years ago. It really was. But they sucked the life out of it because
it's only growing. So it's just going through phases.
Well, they suck the life out of it because they're public and they gotta, they gotta report to people now.
Show me the money.
Yep, that's right.
They gotta show the money to the investors.
Jason, if you haven't yet, you got to watch their show. It's on the Rideshare Guy channel, and it's at an odd time, so that's why you might not have seen it. But it's called Show Me the Money Club. But it's for you. It would be 6 p.m. Eastern, I think. Right?
Oh, that's not too bad. Yeah, I'm 3 hours difference
on Tuesday. Yeah. Tuesday.
We did it Tuesday, honestly, because everybody
it's really good. It's
a dead day. It's the worst day It's the worst day for the gig economy. Really, people don't order, people don't go out. Drivers just finished the weekend. So,
Tom, we coming back?
Yeah, we're coming back, but I want to make sure. So when we come back, I'm going to start off asking Sergio about that stuff.
Okay.
About his stuff, and then if he's got a couple,
because you're gonna roll him out. I get it. No, so take it from here, bro.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Coming back 20.
Oh, Steve, I love you. By the way, I watched your 13 minutes of news doing a workout the other day. Your camera looked really nice on my TV. Like
it's actually
One. Welcome back in TNC Radio.Live. This is a Friday night. That means it's Driver Nation time. And as we get here to the end, Sergio, at the end of the first hour, Sergio, if you can give us an update on how people can read more of your stuff, hear more of your shows, that kind of stuff. We were talking there during the break about something you're doing on Tuesdays. What time is that? Oh, give us the whole rundown for those who are not familiar with you.
Certainly, I appreciate it. I write. So we have 3 different channels on the Rideshare Guide. One of the channels is a newsletter/blog, which I write almost a weekly article on, which I urge people to go read it. There is amazing, amazing information for veterans and new drivers alike. You know, our purpose has always been inform and educate, because we know you can do this better, right? And you don't have to do it the Uber and Lyft or Instacart or DoorDash way. You can do it differently because they want you to do it a certain way. We want you to do it differently. You know, our motto is, you know, don't drive hard, drive smart. Okay. And if you do these things that you may read on our blog, you will be way ahead of the game. So that's one channel. Another channel is we have a podcast that Harry, the founder of the Rideshare Guy, has been doing religiously for the last 8 years now on a weekly basis. And all these interviews that we talk about with the CEOs and top guys of these companies are all there. And about 6 months ago, I had an idea called Show Me the Money Club, because I got tired of these, you know, carrot and stick games, or, you know, all these bait and switch games these companies play through their algos. So I go, you know what, I'm going to try to educate some drivers and inform them how to make a little bit more money. And I started a show on their YouTube channel called Show Me the Money Club. It's every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern time. It's a live stream. Sometimes we go for an hour, sometimes we go for 2 hours. But lately, we've been always going over the hour and a half, 2 hours. During this live stream, what we do is we put out all the news that we think it's relevant for that week, you know, whatever is breaking. And luckily, in the gig economy, there is always some news, good, bad, or sideways. We have wonderful guests, right? Like last week, we had Steve and the CEO of Para. We have drivers. We did 2 town hall meetings with 12 amazing, wonderful drivers, because Uber doesn't do town hall meetings. They don't listen to their drivers. We thought, you know, we do some town hall meetings with 6 big cities, 6 small cities. So all these things are on the live stream, and we put out a lot of content, a lot of good content. Look, there are a lot of channels out there. I call them mostly clickbait. You know, we're more the adult version of the gig economy. Okay. You may not like it. It's okay. But then you will definitely learn and improve your performance when you're out on the street. So that's what we're doing at the moment. And we're very happy doing it. And again, thank you for having me on.
Well,
how dare you call my channel clickbait?
I didn't call yours. Yours and ours are probably the more adult. Well, and you know, there are a couple other guys.
Well, you know, Steve, you and I had that conversation the very first time we talked. Was you know, when I reached out to you, is like, you know, I'm so tired of these other clickbait channels. And there's a particular guy, and I won't name names right here.
I name him if you want.
You know, it's just his stuff is, well, anyway. We got about 5 minutes left. Sergio, you want to talk a little bit about regulations and so forth?
Yes, definitely do. Look, again, we do surveys on the Rideshare Guy constantly. You know, we have, you know, when I said, let's just mention the sizes of all these different channels, right? Oh, by the way, the Show Me the Money Club is, as of, I think, a month ago, on all the major podcast networks. So you don't have to tune in. You can listen to a replay on any podcast network you like. And obviously it stays on the YouTube channel. You can watch it later on or listen to it. You know, our newsletter base, we put out a newsletter every week, is about 200,000 subscribers, which is pretty big. Blog newsletter / that's about 200,000. Our YouTube channel has grown immensely. We're up to about 130,000 subscribers. And the Harry's podcast, I don't know how many downloads he gets. I think he keeps those numbers too close to his chest, but I think he gets enough because he keeps doing it. So we're the largest channel out there when it comes to the gig economy in general. And I think when we do these and we do surveys and we want to get the pulse of the country, pulse of the drivers, right? Because that's what we care about. Now, we did a survey and asked the golden question: do you want to be an employee or do you want to stay an independent contractor, right? Well, guess what the answer was? Overwhelming majority, actually. Close to 70% said they want to stay IC, independent contractor. So I go, okay, well, what better way? Because look, I'm friends with a lot of major journalists that you guys hear. And, you know, I interviewed the top number 2 guy at Uber last week. So, you know, we have connections, right? We enjoy these connections because it's like a two-way street. I mean, I can talk smack about them, but I talk the real stuff. I'm not saying anything they don't know, okay? And then, so what better way I thought to bring, there's a group, they're not a union yet, called Rideshare Drivers United in Los Angeles with about 20,000 members. So 2 weeks ago, I brought Nicole Moore, who's the president of RDU, who's a good friend of mine for 5 years. They had come up with a study that they said Uber drivers on average are making $6.20 an hour. And it got huge media play and mainstream media play. I had the author of the study come on and a driver who participated in the study to explain their side of the story, right? So we give everybody a fair chance. You know, our channel is not there, by the way, to tell you what to do. We'll tell it the way it is. You hear one side of the story, the other side of the story, and you're an adult. You can make your own decision after watching what we do. Now, and to me, overwhelming majority want to stay independent contractors. Okay, well, that may be changing soon. You know, with the delayed reaction of the Biden administration, which I thought it would be a lot sooner, Department of Labor came out with this ruling. And
that's what we're talking about in the second hour of this.
Yes. DOL came out with this ruling. And, you know, Steve, did you read it, by the way? I read it, bro.
Oh,
it's 184 pages.
Yep, I read it. I had a specialist on that I've had on before. And yeah, we're going to be
184 pages. I must have no life. I sat down and read this before RDU came on, right? I'm going like, holy crap, this is boring as shit because they keep repeating itself, right? So I'm like, okay. So long story short, DOL, you know, announced this ruling that could be very detrimental to the gig economy in general, but specifically to Uber and Lyft, because their business models are not geared suddenly for 3 million drivers, because there's about 3 million drivers between Uber and Lyft in the country doing rideshare only. I'm not talking the rest of the gig economy. If they suddenly imagine, you know, Walmart has, I think, 2 million employees around, or 1.2 or 1.4 million. I'm not sure exact numbers, but it's some massive number that they have employees. Imagine if you told Uber and Lyft, oh, here, you have 3 million employees tomorrow morning. What will happen? These companies will fold. They'll be out of business. The last thing I want is these companies to go out of business because they put a lot of money in independent contractors' pockets. You know, between Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, last 3 months, drivers earned $17 billion. Uber was 11 billion, okay, alone. That's what the payout was for the drivers. I don't want these companies to go out of business. However, I want them to be more transparent and a little bit more fair. That's about it. But the Department of Labor has different ideas. So there is a 40, you know, by the way, they extended the comment period another 15 days because they got so many comments.
Yeah.
So I'm reading the comments.
Bot comments.
Yeah, bot.
There's an overwhelmingly, no, there really is a huge surge of bot comments right now. They're trying to deal with that.
But we'll see how it goes. My money is on Uber and Lyft because, look, they're not going to let go of 60, 70, $100 billion worth of market capitalization away. They're going to fight this all the way to the Supreme Court, probably. They're going to be tying it in courts. But, you know, I think there is a happy medium here. I think unions, Uber and Lyft, which this happened in Seattle, FYI, on that same show with the rideshare.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I had a driver from Seattle who sat down. He was part of a union in Seattle. They sat down with Uber, Lyft, and the local legislature was backing the drivers up. And they all sat down. They came up with this plan. They have the highest rates in the country. They stayed independent contractors, and they have 80% of employment, right? So it could be done.
We're at the top of the hour. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a little bit right here on TNC Radio.Live. Stay tuned with the news, all that good stuff. We'll be right back. Sorry, you guys we can keep talking. I just had to get that out.
Yeah.
How long is your break?
5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll okay.
No, if you got to go, well,
Well, we can finish it here for the YouTube people.
Okay. All right. Oh, okay. I keep forgetting that we're live. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think I got pretty much everything. If you guys have any questions, I'll stay another 5 and we'll do it for the radio. If you have any other questions.
No, I mean, I think you got through it well. I think that you covered most of it.
Yeah,
I think the plug on the Show Me the Money Club is a big thing.
Yeah.
Because I think that you guys do a good job talking about that stuff, and that's why I like watching it. I'll tell you, believe it or not, I don't watch everything. You know what I mean? I'm making content.
Too much stuff.
Well, and I'm making content. I'm trying to make mine different and real.
Yeah.
And
you know what happened though? We started doing the live streams, right? Now everybody's doing live streams. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been doing live streams since 2018.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is, like, in our world, in our like little corner of the non-sexy rideshare world, because our world is not sexy, bro. I'm telling you.
Right, like so Jason, this isn't on. So Real Rideshare Stories, who was in the chat, that's Chris, and he handles like the rideshare guy on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I've used his videos on our show a bunch of times.
Okay, so he and Sergio are the ones that do Show Me the Money Club.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so it's both under the Rideshare Guy umbrella, but they do the live cast from the Rideshare Guy channel, which has 130,000 subs.
Must be.
Nice. We grew 21,000 subs since Show Me the Money started, which is 3x of what they grew the last 6 months.
Nice.
So it's obviously getting good traction. So.
Sergio, can I talk to you about using that on the radio station on Friday nights? Because I like on Friday nights, make it as much about rideshare and so forth as we can. So can I use this later in the evening as a take your Tuesday stuff and repeat it and play it over the radio?
You can do whatever you want.
I've got a written agreement with Harry to reuse all the rideshare guy stuff.
You can. No, I mean, we share content with a lot of people, and I mean,
Tom plugs the Rideshare Guy on the channel. In fact, I don't even know. But
so you're the only one that likes Harry? Is that what it is?
I like Harry, man. I got no problem.
I like Harry. Harry. I think Harry is a smart man.
He's a very smart man. He's a very smart man.
Harry quit a 6-figure job at Boeing to do this.
Everybody I know in this space that I like talking to are all different. Every one of them.
Yeah.
I got to take a quick break. I'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Yeah. So, we don't, I mean, look, negative is negative. Negative sells, right? We know that.
Yeah.
So there are certain channels that are total negative, which I go, okay, fine. And then, I don't see the point in being negative because honestly, Steve, I was like quite negative because if you read any of my articles going back 4 years, mostly negative, not negative to the point that I'm putting screenshots out there. I'm driving, I'm experiencing it. I'm saying this is wrong. That's not being negative, right? But what happened is that after I started doing the show, and now I have a Rolodex of like 1,000 drivers around the country. I get like hundreds of emails a day, which they gravitated to me saying that you're one of us. We like you because you're feeling what we're feeling, right? And that's a huge plus for the show, for RSG, for whoever, right? And to me, it's so fulfilling. It really is, because this is not my livelihood. I do different stuff. This is just a side gig of side gigs, right? But I met so many wonderful drivers that my attitude was a little more negative than before, last 4 years, but now it has changed quite a bit. Now I'm more mellow about it, just for the fact that I look at these drivers that I meet. I go, if this guy was not doing this, how is he going to make $5,000 a month?
See, unless you're watching this live, you won't know that I'm about to say this too. I got to say, the same thing happened to me, man, and probably on a smaller scale, but still the para scale. Yeah. I've been dealing with the driver advocacy part. Like you say, you're a driver advocate. That's been my role at Para since day one of the company.
Absolutely.
And it really humbled me. It taught me things. It taught me to talk to people differently.
That I didn't have a problem with. What I had a problem with was that I was too negative on these.
No, not in general, I guess, but specific people to be,
Yeah.
just not change who I am, but be a little
Yeah.
more careful.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. Because the other thing is these companies fulfill a need at this time of this century. They really do. And they provide a great living for millions and millions of people.
All right.
And,
We're coming in 30 seconds, guys.
all right, how about 10 more minutes? 10 more minutes?
That'd be good. Oh, you give us 10 more minutes. That'd be wonderful.
I'm just like, I got to be on the road at 5:45. So
All right.
by the time I get going.
All right, 10 seconds. Sergio, you tell us when you're ready. We'll take a break on the radio side at that point, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome back in TNC Radio.Live. It's Friday night. That means it's time for Driver Nation. And that's what we've been doing tonight, talking about all things gig economy related. I'm Tom Kelly, along with Jason and Steve, who are usually with me here on Friday nights. And tonight we've also got Sergio from the Rideshare Guy. And we appreciate everything you've had to share with us tonight, Sergio. You got a few more minutes with us. What's on your mind next?
Yeah, I mean, first like hour flew by, so I may have sounded a little bit too negative, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit before I leave about the positive sides of the gig economy, right? So on the break, we were talking amongst us, and I strictly was writing on the blog side of the Rideshare Guy for 4.5 years. And I call it the way I see it. I experience it myself. I'm not going to write something that's not factual. Today's, unfortunately, the mainstream media is mostly cut and paste. They'll hear stuff from the Uber and Lyft PR departments and then just print it. I'm like, yeah, but why don't you go out there and drive? Let's, take some of your own medicine. Let's see how this works, right? But besides that, I've been doing that for 4 years. Now I'm doing it on a live basis, which is more exciting, but also comes with more responsibility. And I have to watch what I say. Not because Uber and Lyft are listening, which I know they are. Everything that we do, they're listening, which is okay. I'm not against it, because if you find something that is not factual, send me an email, say, Serge, you messed up. This is not factual. I'm like, okay, I'll take it.
You're hoping for that email. That'd be good. Good.
Actually, I got one the other day, but I got busted so bad that I was like, yeah, take this. And I'm like, okay, look, we have a relationship with these companies, and a lot of people get turned off by that. Look, how many channels on, other than CNBC, honestly, on the earnings date, interview the CEO of Uber 3 times, or the president of Lyft, or the CEO of DoorDash? We do it. We do it because we have a balanced idea. So this is what happened to me since I started Show Me the Money Club. I have become more balanced for the fact that now I understand the gig economy is necessary. I mean, look, 1 out of 6 Americans are somehow on a part-time or a full-time basis is involved in the gig economy. So this is not going away. The cat's out of the bag. We can't put it back in. We would like to fix it. Look, is it all wonderful? Absolutely not. Is there things we need to work on fixing it? The only way we can do that is stick together. We can't just, go all our way and say, no, we're not going to do it. But what I appreciated the most the last 6 months of doing Show Me the Money Club is that I have met thousands of drivers around the country, even in Australia now. And, they send me hundreds of emails a week. And I'll categorize them in a way that I know what the hot topic of the week is. And I have grown more fond of the gig economy, actually, just for the fact that what it represents to a lot of millions of people in the country as an income source. Because if I'm at I last 4 articles I did on the blog, and one more is coming up actually next week. I did an article on a Chicago driver, a Uber Winterbird, I call her, because she drives all over the country. An LA driver, now one's coming up from Charleston and Myrtle Beach. These wonderful people, they're all, in their late 50s, early 60s. One in Chicago is young. He hustles, he works his butt off 60 hours a week, but he grosses $3,000 a week, and he provides an amazing living, $12,000 gross a month. Where is this guy going to make $12,000 gross a month? I know his history. He had a job at a U-Haul making $700 to $800 a week max before taxes. Now the guy's providing an amazing living for his family. So the gig economy does provide good things, and that's what I learned last 6 months of doing the show. Meeting wonderful drivers, seeing how lives are being changed, but we can always make it better. We really, really always can make it better. And the only way we can make it better is through shows like yours, radio show. Get the voices of drivers out. Because I think, in this world of mainstream media, a lot of these voices get stuffed just for the fact that millions of us, are screaming that this upfront thing is really not that good already after 3 weeks. Well, if it's not good, let's sit down with these guys that write the code or these executives of these companies and improve it. Look, we know it's not going away, but we can always improve it. Because at the end, I think there is a formula for a win-win-win situation, except that, we need to work at it and we need to stick together. So these are the things I have come to appreciate the last 6 months I'm doing the Show Me the Money Club. Before, I honestly did not have any of this. But now it's like I see both sides much better than I used to see. Before, I used to just see it from the driver's side. Oh, another fare cut. Oh, another fare cut. Oh, damn Uber, damn Lyft, damn Uber. Well, no, it's not like that. These guys these companies are there for a reason. And bottom line is they are trying to make money. The drivers are trying to make money. So our views are diametrically opposed to each other. They are. And once you understand that, you don't become a hater of these companies. What you do is that you just let's try to improve the situation more than anything else. So I think I said enough.
That's all you can do.
That's all we can do.
Yeah.
And I truly appreciate Tom, Steve, Jason having me on. Enjoy my time, but now I gotta scoot and
Sergio, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you
for
guys.
coming on. Always like hanging out with you, man.
Thank you. Anytime.
Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right, on the radio side, we're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. You're listening to TNC Radio.Live. Stay tuned. All right, thank you, Sergio. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was one point you got pretty loud just for a second. I don't know what it was.
I think
I'm having some audio issues. A couple of things have gone on, but
don't you have a processor that runs real time?
Yeah, but it's been giving me fits this week, and then on top of that, the software that I use to control the radio station did an auto upgrade that kind of screwed me over, and then Zoom did an auto upgrade, so I've had all these upgrades happen at once, and some things aren't quite right, and there's been too many changes for me to figure out which thing screwed me over here. So
yeah, it's like troubleshooting. You just got to figure it out.
Yeah. So fortunately, I've hired a kid who's like 20, 21 years old in Alabama, and I gave him the exact same processor board as me and had it all set up. So today I had to go through each step. All right, go to mic 1, check auto process, phantom power 2, and and we had to go through each one of these. Okay, that's set to 6.2 on my system. It's like, yeah, it's 18 on mine. Let me adjust back down. So because his stuff didn't upgrade, but mine did. So you gotta kind of put it all back to where it was. But it's my meters are coming in real low going over the radio.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Hey, you guys see this?
Yeah.
Okay, what is it? Just so I can know you're seeing it right.
The Simpsons, Bart and Maggie.
Yeah.
Okay, and Maggie's doing the strangling thing on Bart.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a tattoo on Gary's son, Gary Middleton's son's leg, and then his daughter has the opposite. Has Bart choking the girl.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but that's not the weird thing. That's fine. That's awesome. But Gary's son is going into the Navy, and they said he has to have it removed because it's too violent.
What?
Yep. And it's already done. If Gary's still listening, he'll confirm it. He got something blackball. Yeah, he says was now covered up.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Right?
Military people are tatted up all over the place.
Right, but The Simpsons choking, and it's like a Bond thing with his sister that's cool.
That's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
I mean, can you believe that? Can you believe they saw that and they said, that's too violent?
Yeah, that is crazy.
Well,
Right.
after all, we don't want to have a bunch of violence in the military.
No.
Yeah. So, guys, here's the thing that I'm kind of dealing with tonight. I played, as you guys know, in my spare time, I play competitive poker. And last night I qualified for tonight's 120,000 guaranteed tournament. And so there is a table right now about 10 miles away with all my chips sitting there. And every few minutes as it goes by, they take a few chips away from me. And so that's just sitting there. So the moment this is over, I'm in the car racing to get over there, and hopefully I still have enough chips left to be competitive.
So you're losing money each round?
Yeah. They got to take my blind each round.
You can't go mobile?
No. Not and still run the radio station. If Bill was here, I could do it, but not without Bill. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, we'll make it work.
By the way, I know that was a lot to take in, but that was a lot of stuff that you need to know. That upfront pricing model is, bottom line, though, it's awesome because it might suck, but you see what you're getting. And if you take it, that's on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see where the pickup is. You see how far to the pickup in a dotted line. Then you see another dotted line from the pickup to the drop-off. You see it on your map, so you know the route you might want to take. You can change any of that, and you see the full pay, even the change.
Okay, so when we come back, I want to talk about the set destination part of the app and show you guys a real-life example of what was happening to this guy last night. I wanted
Then I want a little kudos for my piece this week.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that for sure. Yeah, we're going to get there for sure. Don't worry.
Well, I mean, we don't need too much time with it. It's just, in fact, I'd like to read it. I think everybody needs to hear it. I do.
I do too.
In fact, I was talking to my buddy Zach, who does a lot of YouTube, and he's really good with working with the algorithm. And I was asking him, and I think I'm going to chop up like that first 17 minutes. I've worked with Kim a few times. She defined AB5, Prop 22, the PRO Act, and this new proposal perfectly in 17 minutes.
That's good.
I thought.
Yeah.
And then she moved into the 6 pieces.
All right, here we come back in about 20 seconds. That's good. And 3, 2, 1. All right, welcome back in TNC Radio.Live. It's Friday night. And Friday night means we turn our attention to all things that are related to the gig economy. We talk about rideshare, all that good stuff here on Friday nights. Guys, I got a couple of things I want to cover this hour. The first one I want to do real quick, and this is helpful to those who are on watching us online on YouTube, but I'll describe a little bit about what I'm seeing. Let me put this up here in the right place. And I want... Here we go. All right. So, guys, this is a map showing Beaumont to Houston. You guys see that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So this guy got a ride all the way out to Beaumont. Cool. 90 miles away. Okay. So he's coming back in. So he's coming back in from Beaumont, and he wants to go to the Woodlands. So he puts in his destination, coming back to the Woodlands. And he ended up in, see, it's not quite here. Well, he ended up down in this area just south of LaPorte in an area called Seabrook, and eventually further in down into Webster, down into League City, and then to my house. And all this trying to get to the Woodlands, which is over an hour away. Set destination is crap.
Yeah.
It used to be better than Lyft. Lyft was terrible. Lyft would do something like that, but that feels like that was maybe a screw up or something.
I mean, well, but I've had similar things where I've done the set destination, and it's just. And last week, I had an Uber ride, and I asked the guy, "You can change one thing about the app. What would it be?" He said, "Set destination." It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. He said, that guy was from the Katy area out here and was over here. Now, you have to understand how big Houston is, okay? To get from my house to the Woodlands is at least an hour. Okay. So Katy, he's hour and a half away, you know? And he's starting to get home and he's getting all this, set destinations. He was over in Pearland. He set a destination to go to Katy, and he ended up over here in Clear Lake.
Do you think that Uber's just like, we're going to pretend that this is a thing and we're just going to give them rides?
That's what I'm asking. That's why I wanted to bring this up.
Here's the new thing, Tom. So now with Upfront, who cares? You're going to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going where I want to go. Forget that.
Yeah.
Well, kind of, because like Sergio said, you got 8 seconds to make that decision and go, okay, is that north of me?
Right. But you could look, I mean, you got 8 seconds. That is enough to look at the map part. You might not get the money, the miles, all this, how far you are. That's a little different, but you can at least go on the map and go, I don't want to go there right now. No.
Yeah. But the way it used to work anyway was you could at least get in the right direction. Now you're not even getting in the right direction. And that's just. Yeah.
I'm curious. We talked about, I can't remember if it was last week's show or the one before, that Lyft. I actually pulled the video from the rideshare guy is doing a different like a geofence area for like destination instead of like an actual destination. It's like an area that you only want to take rides to and from, which ideally that sounds great, but it sounds like you're not going to get any rides depending. And I don't know how big you can do it. I don't know. I'm not.
I think part of the reason for that is because I think that they're slowly trying to get to the point where maybe even like for like houses and stuff, that maybe there's going to be a selection, or maybe it'll just be automatic where it's not like exactly where the person lives. If the person wants, like, hey, just go to this corner.
You think?
I think it might become an option. There's a lot of people who don't like the Uber drivers knowing where they live, especially people who go to the airport. At least here in Denver, that's still a thing. Like people take them to the airport, then they go rob them.
I mean, I don't think it probably happens often, but I guess there's always a chance.
I mean, dude, if you took people, if like, let's say you took a couple and it's like you can tell it's a house that only has them, right? And you're taking them to the airport, you get talking with them. They're going to Hawaii for a week. Oh my gosh, do you have kids? No, just us, been married, just the two of us in the house. Oh, okay. No pet? Do you have any pets? No. You got 20 minutes.
You're already
suspicious. You don't have anybody watching the pets. So
you got any goldfish?
No. But pets might require somebody to watch them. So you don't have any pets, so nobody's gonna be there. So you got a week to rob them.
Yes, there is. That is true.
There was a rash of it here a while back, but now it's still around. You don't hear about it so much, but.
Yeah.
But people have gotten a little bit like, and I get it. Look at some of the Uber drivers. I don't want them to, is this where you live? Like, no. It's an Airbnb. I'm only here for tonight.
Yeah.
I'm gone tomorrow.
That voice that you did, what was that? Was it the movie we watched that the guy had the real creepy voice? Was that from?
I think it sounded more like Sling Blade there, but
yeah, no, yeah, that voice just kind of triggered that movie we watched. I can't remember what
I'm
the
gonna
name
need a glass of water here.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, we'll see. I'm actually currently not. I don't have any inspections for my car. I need to get inspections, but I've just been doing all.
But as you saw, like, and you know your area, Tom, you know your area. Acceptance rate does not matter anymore. I know Sergio was starting to hint to they might be looking at it, but it does not matter anymore across the nation. There's no acceptance rate needed. It's like all the food
what about
apps.
the points?
Well, if you want to play the games, but if you just want to, if you want to be blue tier or diamond,
yeah. But I mean, it's the acceptance rate has never been. You've never had to worry about it,
dude. For up until 2017, if you went underneath 80, you were auto deactivated.
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, my
yeah.
20%.
No, dude. Until
No
it was all the way through Travis, it was 80%. You were deactivated.
Well, wow. Travis, I mean, that was
That was March of 2017.
Oh, well, I have never had to deal with an acceptance rate. I mean, I don't know if we even.
When did you start driving?
It would have been 2016.
Okay, so if it was near the end, it would have only been 6 months later. It was gone.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really worried about an acceptance rate. Now, it probably wasn't bottom of the barrel when I first started out because
That's what I was just gonna say too. You might have come in
buck.
and you kept it high during that time or whatever. But just know that at like 87, they gave you a warning. Email, text. You had to hit OK on an alert on your thing because I'd get it a lot.
I know
because I still was turning down. Yeah, but no, Uber would too.
And
it was, it went against everything. Independent contractor.
Yeah, the whole thing with the independent contractor is so weird. Is just that we're independent contractors. We don't set our own prices. That's where the super gray area is. It's always bothered me.
But I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm okay with it too. I'm just saying, like, when you talk about all the legal battles,
that seems to be a thing a lot of people bring up to me. I don't care about that. I think that would cause more disruption, if anything, to be honest.
Oh yeah, if we
I like it how it is. Just show
prices.
me, but be transparent. Just show me everything.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the independent contractor stuff because Steve, you did an interview this week that was pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, really, it was great. Jason, I don't know if you got a chance to see it yet or not.
I did not.
Yeah, but it was great on just a whole lot of levels. Let me pull this up just here a little bit. Okay, it was great on a whole lot of levels. And Steve, tell us a little bit about who you interviewed.
Kim Cavan. Kim is she's been a writer for many years, and her history goes back to being a staff writer. She's written for the New York Times, the Washington Post, all the big ones. She also is an author of books, and she's just a wordsmith beyond belief. But when AB 5 happened, she also knows a lot about legislation and freelancer rights, and she lives in New Jersey. But she was a huge help to all the AB 5 fighters. So everybody I talked to about AB 5, Kim is kind of the my like the Yoda. So I've had her on a couple times, but it's been a while. But she is like Yoda when it comes to knowing this stuff. So I always can get clean answers from her. No beating around the bush. No, and you don't even hear her say, "Oh, I don't know," or "Let me check in." She just knows. I mean, the woman doesn't even need to reference things or look.
Yeah. I was very impressed by the interview. I was very impressed by her. The whole thing was well done. How can people hear that, Steve?
Well, they can, just go to the YouTube Rideshare Rodeo YouTube channel or ridesharerodeo.com and then click the YouTube link in the socials, and it'll take you there. And then it was you'll see Kim Cavan. It's a yellow avatar, and it's like the second to last uploaded video, so it's right there. But I think it's called Independent Contractor something here. I'll have to look it up because
Okay. Well, while you're looking that up, I'll tell you what. While you're looking that up,
here it is. Independent contractors in 2023 with Kim Gavin, Rodeo Live.
right? Yeah, great stuff, and I appreciate what you did there, Steve. I think it was some fantastic work.
Thank you.
And you didn't wear a hat. I'm looking at so fancy. Sorry, I shared the link in the live stream, so it's playing muted on my other channel there.
Yeah, cool. It was it was a lot of fun, and her knowledge and the questions you asked, all of it came together very, very well.
Her and I have worked together a few times now, so it really, it was smooth. And I got to tell you guys, like, oddly, when winter hits here, like that first couple days, people that have allergies suffer from them tremendously. And that day I was having a wicked headache here too. And I was wondering how he's even going to pull that off. And somehow I just did, though. Even beforehand, I kind of warned her, but then I was like, but here's what I'm thinking. She's like, that's perfect. Let's do that. And I think it went extremely well. I've had her on. That was the third time that she's been on the podcast. So it was fun. And it was, like you said, fun, but scary, truthful, but not as scary, but also not scary. It's hard to define even, I think, that piece, because it really, walks you all the way through. I was saying in the first 17 minutes, for all the talk we've done about AB5, Prop 22, PRO Act, what happened to the dismantling of the PRO Act, and what is going on with Biden's proposal, I think that can get very confusing. A lot of the times we've talked about it, if you walk into that conversation, you're like, what? Maybe you didn't hear some of the prior stuff. It's hard to follow. I think she laid it out in the first 17 minutes of that video better than I've heard it laid out. And I told her that was important to me going in, if she can because she's a wordsmith. So if you can do that, it would be amazing to me, because it would really help a lot of my listeners. And I thought she crushed it. If you notice, I didn't even say a word in the first 17 minutes. I introduced her and I was like, let's let you do that intro. And then we got into it, and then it became the piece. And even that was really good, I thought, because it really explained everything. If you question what those 6 prongs are, I don't know if they're calling them prongs. I'm calling them prongs still. But the 6 prongs in the new Biden proposal, I thought she outlined those great, because reading them's one thing, but reading in a definition behind it is another. And I thought she defined each one extremely well and how it could impact you.
I mean, that's a good job for you not saying anything. I'm
I'm
just saying.
No, like her and I did our intro. I introduced her, and then when she took that first, we went for about an hour 10. And the first 17 minutes was, I had told her that's what I really wanted her to do for me. She was like, is there anything special? I said, if you could do something like that in the beginning that could help just everybody hear it once from somebody else that is a good wordsmith.
Yeah.
And I knew she'd crush it, and she did. And it was awesome. But then the rest, we were talking about it. And even by the end, I mean, we were fielding questions. I was watching the chat. Tom, actually, you probably know more about the chat than I do. I do know that there was like 397 chat messages in an hour 10. And Jason, they weren't like little, hi, hey, what are you doing? Or whatever. These were like,
What's that?
Feedback. You're not hearing it? Oh, there, it's gone. Wait. Oh, it's gone.
Is it for me?
No, that was me. Sorry.
Okay, I muted myself.
No. But yeah, so I don't know. I thought she did great. But Tom, you were in there. It was 397 comments. I looked at the end, and it was an afternoon piece too, Jay. It was like 1 p.m. here. So it was 3 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, 12 p.m. Pacific. That's a hard sell time. And
Yeah,
I had 32 concurrent watchers from the second minute until the very end, at least.
Nice.
I mean, and it bounced a couple times, of course, but I mean, like that was the people didn't leave once they were in. It was the I have a lot of pieces like that, and I never know which one to recommend. Now I do. I'll recommend this one to people.
Is it kind of like obviously I haven't listened to it yet, but is it dumbed down enough for people that might not, because like you are really involved in that kind of stuff. So okay. So
No.
that's what I need.
In fact, a couple times, Tom, I don't know if I know you noticed, was she'd say, "Everybody with me so far?"
Right. No, she was really
I'm
good.
like, I don't know, I'm with you, but everybody else in the chat, and they're all like, "Yep, we're here."
Yeah, that was good.
I mean, it was just, I don't know, Tom, you tell me, the comments alone seemed to be a whole nother story too.
Oh yeah, no, we really enjoyed it. It was good across the board. Hey guys, I got to take a break on the radio side. We'll be back in just a minute. You're listening to TNC Radio.Live. Stay tuned. This sound issue's driving me nuts. We're gonna take a longer break here, guys. I gotta try to figure out what's going on with this shit.
Aw.
Yeah, traditional IC. Great conversation in the chat. They were there. Yeah, man. I don't know. It was just everybody in the chat was respectful. No trolls. No people that just wanted to, oh, this is crap, and take the other side. And just none of that happened. And I was really glad about that, because you just never know. I've even had ones where it's short-lived, but it just takes a minute out of it even, or something. And it just felt like a really good piece. And then when I was looking over at the chat, I couldn't even watch it because the conversation was way too deep. But when I did look over, it was like they were having their whole own discussion on the timeline we were talking about. So it's pretty amazing. I was very happy with it.
All right, you guys, let's see, it's still not getting through my mic. That's up all the way.
Really? I hear you through your mic.
Yeah.
No, I hear your mic.
No, I know, but it's not getting from the compressor out to the station.
Oh.
So you're hearing me through my computer, and so it's.
Jerry does DoorDash. What's up?
Let's bring up the game here a little bit. Test. It's a little bit better. Let's bring the threshold way up for a second. Test. All right, that's much better. All right, hopefully that doesn't mess anything else up. Say something.
Yeah, it's a little hot on our end, but not
Is
horrible.
it? Yeah. We can bring that down on this side now. I brought up the threshold. Let's see, I need to go back to level. Test. Yeah. Jeez. All right. Well, I just have to be. That's as good as I can do it for right now. Make sure it's still playing out. Okay.
Jerry does DoorDash.
Dragon Ball
Z.
So why Gary wrote Dragon Ball is because that's what he got it covered up with.
Yeah, he sent me the picture in chat, and
I mean, it's very cool, the cover up picture. It's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I asked him if he can get it back on, and he said that after boot camp he can get it somewhere else.
So ridiculous, dude. Yeah. Seriously, I mean, I'm sorry, but that.
Yeah,
it's not like it's a jihad and he's taking a machete and cutting his head off.
Yeah, and what is his role? Is he just gonna? What do they call a sailor? That's like, and it's not a private. That's Army, but is he like going to be an officer right away? Is that the issue? Or
I think you might be called sailor right out of the
seaman.
A seaman.
Don't laugh. You're so immature. I knew you were gonna laugh.
Tom's laughing too, man.
I know.
I'm laughing at him. That's funny.
I knew it. I knew it as soon as I said that you were gonna chuckle.
If I had said it, you'd have laughed.
You're right, 100%. 100%, my man.
All right, let's see what we got here. Let's come back in. Let's flip this to 2 minutes.
All right.
Am I overmodulated now, or is it okay?
It's okay.
All right. I mean, it's too loud. Say so I can adjust.
Oh, definitely.
No, this that sounds good.
We'll just see how it plays out on station now.
You know, you should always just make sure that you sound good to you and to the radio, because Jason can always pull up and down your volume.
Yeah. Well, wish it was that simple.
Right.
I mean, I was just saying you shouldn't worry about this. Don't worry about this side.
Check this thing out.
Jeez.
Look at this. I got to blow it up. Hold on. What the fuck?
That's awesome.
Yeah, but look, it's like in a six pack, and it's jalapeno cornbread muffin. It's just funny.
I know. Dude, we have that out here. It's great.
Do you really?
Oh man, restaurants have it. It's awesome.
I love
Muffin King?
Yeah, jalapeno cornbread. That's like my favorite, bro.
love jalapeno cornbread.
I've never even seen that. I just saw it on Twitter. And I was just
Gosh, it's my favorite. Yeah.
He's like, there's like 6. It says 8 on the box.
Did I say 6? What an idiot. Oh my gosh. It's hilarious.
6, 8, you know.
It's whatever.
Both have round, kind of curvy numbers there.
It's just like, even it's like when you're talking about your inches, you know what I mean? 6, 8, maybe 12. Whatever it is, you know.
Was there a pool involved?
Yeah.
I was in the pool.
Shrinkage.
Oh, that's the best episode.
Yeah.
Is that the same?
It's the second best episode.
Well, hold on. I want to know what your favorite is. Is it the same episode where that his girl goes skinny dipping? Is all in that same one, right? Okay. Yeah.
All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right. Welcome back in TNC Radio.Live. Happy to have you with us. Guys, I'm going to let you do some of the talking here because I'm not getting out very well. Hello. Yeah, it's not getting out there. But so Steve, again, great stuff that from your interview earlier this week, and I want to keep pushing people to take a listen to that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, you guys, and I do too. Please, and this isn't something I say often, but please go watch it. Watch a few minutes, whatever you can do. I would really think you would get sucked in because, like Jason says, is it easy to follow? It's not like, it's not brain dead easy to follow, but everybody that I know in this community is able to follow this. So go watch it, but even more so please share it to Facebook, share it to Reddit, share it to everywhere. This piece needs to be out there.
Well, not only that, for us small creators, sharing is actually almost more better. Listen to me. I went to private school. Sharing is better for us small creators than almost likes. That's what I was trying to say. I mean, the likes help too, but if you share it to somebody, those algorithms are like, oh, they're sharing it. Like, oh, more people need to see this. So,
but I get that a lot of people don't like sharing a lot of things. Like, hey, I watched this video today, like this live stream. But this is a piece where even if people aren't in the gig economy, it will interest them, especially right now. So please share it, get it out there.
Oh yeah, definitely. It will be big for anybody doing any kind of independent contractor work. Yeah.
And especially if you haven't voted yet, please go watch this. It's 1 hour. Go watch it.
Are they when you say haven't voted yet, you're talking about in those areas that have the elections in Massachusetts?
Or nationally, dude. The Biden rule is national.
Yeah, but it won't be on the ballot next week, though.
No, but the people who are going to be voting for it once it gets there, it's going to be congressmen and senators who pass this thing.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
not a push. It's not. It's also not that though. It's not a push to get you to vote one way or the other. In fact, I would actually question people because I know, and I would never tell anybody because I just know. But I would ask anybody who watched that piece, do you think what party affiliation do you think Kim Cavan has?
I haven't watched it, and my guess you can't tell.
Yeah. Because she's all over the map because she cares. She's a registered independent, but she cares about what she cares about. So she needs to make it all balance.
Yeah, for sure.
And that it was, I don't know. She always, I love that about her, that you can't tell, and that she can freely, she was able to say the word Trump without it sounding bad or like we all needed to like, oh, is my YouTube channel going to get deleted? Like, it was like,
it's cool to talk to people like that you can have like a civil conversation with, and
because you have to go through that. You have to talk about some of the changes that happened during that era. It's not like we shouldn't even have to. It's ridiculous. We all know this, but the complaining doesn't seem to do anything. But bottom line is we need to talk about that's history.
Right. Before we sign off today, what is the Biden rule that you were talking about? I don't think we ever even spoke of it, and I haven't quite seen it. If you don't have it up, it's totally fine. I can.
No, I know it. I don't know. I don't just want to read. See, here's the problem. I don't just want to read the 6 points because it'll sound like the ABC test with 3 more levels. The piece I did with Kim, we talk about each level, but we talk about each level for about 8 minutes. Yeah. And you need to hear the one sentence that's written out. That's because these are the 6 determining factors on whether or not you're an independent contractor. It's like the ABC test in California. The last thing that they did do is put an asterisk at the bottom that says, and any other things we may decide to add. So they made it so out of control, like we don't even know what we're looking for. But the other things were some of them are even misleading. Like I felt like I'd read one and I'd go, that's not so bad. I'm okay with that. And then when Kim was breaking it down, it made total sense the way that. So to everybody, I tell you, you can go Google it. You can go to ridesharerodeo.com, which will, and look up any of the articles on it and read them. You can Google it, read them, but I would suggest go watch this video because reading them doesn't do it justice. You need to hear our discussion on each one.
And I know that Steve's such an awesome content creator. He's going to cut up the first 17 minutes and repost that probably as well.
Right. Because, that's a little bit different, that actually did something that I've never been able to do, which is define. I mean, this was all in 17 minutes, all of them. AB5 or Prop 22 PRO Act, dismantling of PRO Act, how the Biden rule came into place and why, and where it's at right now in 17 minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
and Jerry does DoorDash. Go check it out. Go I know you missed that one you said, but make sure you go watch it. I don't always push every one of my videos, but.
So what have you been doing this week for gig work? Have you a lot of curry, a lot of
curry? No, I'm getting my dumpling ready, which also means I'm about to go commando on Instacart.
That's hot.
I'm not gonna like put the dumpling cards attached to the orders, but I'm gonna put like a flyer that I make on my own that just says, "Hey, I hope you enjoyed my." And I'm gonna take Instacart orders. I'm gonna put, "Hey, I hope you enjoyed my service. Please go to this dumpling.us/my page, which will show you I'm a shopper, I'm local." Everything else saying, could you please go there and leave a comment on how I did?
So I would recommend putting a QR code on there because people don't want to.
I'll do that too. My point is, I'm going to do it until Instacart calls and say, "Are you doing this?" And I'm going to be like, "Yep."
Yeah, they'll deactivate you, but
I don't care.
If you get 4 customers,
I've been on Instacart for a year and a half. I've done 2 orders.
Hey, I got you beat. I've been on Instacart since 2018. I've done 19.
I don't know, 2.
The reason why I started it back up again
is there's always something that beats them. They suck, dude.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of them do suck, but when when I come back to the gig world every fall, things change, right? And sometimes it's things for the positive, like the last 2 years, it's been Walmart. And this year, the negative, Walmart has dried up in my area. It's rough. And I'm like, I'm doing straight DoorDash. Like, yeah, I know I said I didn't want to take passengers anymore. I wish I had my inspections done because I would have started taking passengers because I'm going to go where the money's at. And unfortunately, it's not Walmart. So I have done some Instacart. I've cherry picked the hell out of it. I mean, but at this point, well, I actually had to get a new card. So they let you do some digital, like I can use Apple Pay. They put a digital card right on your phone. So wherever that accepts Apple Pay, I can shop for, but they have not been great.
Yeah.
I mean,
here, I mean,
not
we all
great.
know it's market to market. Here, even like the driven mom, the driven dad, who I do
Yeah.
a show called, by the way, I do a show called Coffee in Colorado with those guys on their channel, where we're all in person on Wednesday mornings.
Mhm.
So if anybody ever wants to watch, it's last 2 weeks we haven't been remote, but it's a lot of fun. It's
The
we do it
Driven
at
Dad's live right
12:30
now.
Eastern. Yeah, he's live a lot.
I just happened to go on the YouTube homepage and looks like Beauty versus Beast. That's
Yeah,
it.
so they dual stream on Friday night. So they're both out driving for a goal. I think they set like 500 each, so it's 1,000 for tonight.
All right.
But they both drive rented Teslas. She's in the fully self-autonomous beta mode, and Gary and I drove in that when Gary was here with
Yeah.
Tony, and it's crazy, dude. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. It almost killed us. It was changing lanes on its own. It got like an evasive action in front of a semi truck. Like we were
Damn.
in an intersection, the light was yellow. It gunned it, went around a truck. I was like, dude, what are you doing? And Gary's like, I didn't do it.
So I'm on their channel right now. Says mom has 259, dad has 481. So they're at 740.
Yeah.
And someone says they have a passenger in the vehicle. Who is somebody doing rideshare?
So Tony does rideshare, and if he's doing rideshare, he needs to turn his stream off.
Well, they're both the streams are on. It just there's a note that says passenger in the vehicle. This is interesting.
Right, but usually he puts like his avatar up when
No,
he's
it's
got
not.
him. Oh, it's
No.
not? Okay.
No. Here, I'll show you.
Honestly, he's probably tired. I'm telling you this for real, and he forgot because he tries to not ever show any of it, not sound or show.
Well, obviously, I don't have the sound on because I'm muted on YouTube.
Right,
so,
but
let's see.
I wish Lyft would just put it together for me. Like, why are you making me do math, bro?
Yeah, there's sound. We
Well,
can hear
there
the
is-
sound.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's sound, but
So,
I
I'm a
can't
big
hear it
guy.
because
Bobby says
I got it
actually
muted on
work.
my side.
Yeah,
obviously.
it's-
I don't want it to play.
I don't think that's
Going close to
anything
my zone.
that's
18
It's just
minutes
gonna be
away.
me
You guys
paying
are
and-
not getting the message.
Yeah, that's why I
Lyft.
muted it.
need
But
to
I
be
was
closer to
once
me,
he
not
takes that
farther
comment,
away.
it'll say
I'm hearing
pass.
them talk right now, guys.
All right,
So
I gotta
that-
read
Yeah,
it
no,
on my
Tom,
phone.
I'm saying I
12.
muted it on my end.
So that
Okay.
puts you almost $10 more.
I don't know how you're hearing it,
Okay.
but I muted it from my
It was a
computer.
short trip.
And we can't hear it on the stream, so.
Yeah, it's going out over the radio.
Oh, well, that's not good.
yeah. That's
know
what I
how
was
that
saying. I was wondering why we were on the channel. Like,
Well, I mean, I have it muted on my end. I don't know how it's even being played. The
I
audio.
don't know either.
That's strange
Yeah,
because I couldn't hear
yeah. No, they were talking about how much it cost, and
it. Gary can hear it too. That's
Yeah.
weird.
Jerry, can you hear it? Traditional IC, can you hear it?
Clearly, they can. Gary, look
This
at
is what happens when poker money is left on the table.
Oh no! Let's just wrap it now. Go.
Yeah.
all right, guys.
Up to the top of the hour, man. Yeah. Go ahead.
We're getting near the top. So tell me, let's start with you, Jason. How can people hear more about you? What you got coming up on the Gig Economy podcast?
Yeah, you can go to thegigeconomyshow.com, and that has everything that you can, if you want to download the show. We're obviously on all podcast platforms. Episode next week, we just interviewed it's not out yet, but we just interviewed a company called Sips Z, and they pick up bottles. It's only in, it's only in the state of Michigan. Obviously, maybe people don't know, have a 10-cent return. And they've created a company where they get 1 cent, the driver or the recycler gets 4 cents, and then the customer gets 5. Is that right? Is that 10? Something like that. But it's kind of interesting. You go pick them up, and then you buy the cans from Sipsy, and then you return them, and you get the cash from the store. So it's kind of an interesting concept. But that'll be out soon. Other than that, yeah, gigeconomyshow.com. Hello.
Very cool. GigEconomyShow.com. And obviously for you, Steve, we've already talked about, you need to go check out the video you did, but what else you got coming up?
Yeah, I got, I do the 13 minutes of news on Saturday. Actually, it's been growing a decent amount too, like a little more than other shows have done. So I'm digging that. And then I do, a bunch of other shows, but the bottom line is ridesharerodeo.com. It will redirect you to the old uberlyftdrivers.com, but I am actually in the process of working on the site, ridesharerodeo.com. And so just start using that. And when I do change it and flip it over, that way you won't know. Also check out withpara.com, because I am working very heavily with ParaWorks, which we can talk about next week, because it's heck load of opportunities. And like even here in Denver today, we have, let me show you guys, Para. I go into my app, I go to Works. This is, let me get it right.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see.
Okay, but there's up top, there's 5 companies for route delivery, and below there's 2 for meal delivery. This is for Denver. This isn't for the California beta. This is in Denver live right now. That I can take everything in here is $20 plus an hour or work.
Okay.
Period. And some of it goes as high as 30, 32. And it's right in the Works app. I can explain it all next week.
Cool.
In fact, I'm sponsored to do so. So,
oh, look at you! Oh, braggadocious!
No, I mean, it's my job to make sure I'm getting it out there.
Yeah, good. All right, guys. Hey, good stuff going on too on the TNC Radio.Live. Lots of good shows coming on, and every night.
And Gary'sApps.com. Sorry, Tom.
Gary'sApps.com. I'm going to be Gary'sApps.com. Gary'sApps.com. Be sure to check that out. All sorts of different apps there. I won't try to sell all those. But check those out. Check out our programming here on TNCRadio.Live. It's always been a pleasure to be with you guys here on a Friday night. We'll be back next Friday. Same channel, same time, talking about all things gig economy. Coming up next, maybe you're not familiar with Jason. Maybe you're not familiar with Steve. We're going to have them back-to-back coming up on one of their previous shows, so you can get a chance to hear them while you're out driving. And if you like what you hear, we also have instructions on how you can check them out. So be sure to stay tuned next for more Gig Economy and Rideshare Rodeo coming up right after this program right here on TNCRadio.Live.
Hey, guys, for you guys on the stream, too, TNC Radio has an app, so you can listen in the background, which is pretty dope. So,
Yep. Okay, guys.
Good night, you guys. Peace.
Good luck on poker. Let's go.
It's not luck.
Good skill. Well, Steve just left. Good. I didn't even end the broadcast yet. Well, good luck. Well, no good luck. What do you say to a poker player then?
You can say good luck. It's fine.
All right.
Just messing with you.
Have a good night.
Thanks, man.